Hey, thanks for listening. Please subscribe to our newsletter at theproductporch.com for notifications on the latest episodes and exclusive content.
Getting closer to the business. And I think that's what's protecting a lot of product people, because we know the business more than an engineer. The engineer's stuff is coming our way.
So that's our moat.
That's
our moat around our position and our value is that we understand the business better.
That's right.
Welcome to the Product Porch with Ryan Cantwell, Joe Ghali, and me, Todd Blaquiere. In our last episode, we outlined a growing problem. AI speeds up development, but customers can't absorb product updates any faster. Today, we discuss the skills required to solve this problem. Now settle in, folks, because on the Product Porch, every topic is a product topic. Welcome to the Product Porch.
Dun, 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 dun.
Are we doing our morning radio talk show voice? Is that what's happening here?
Well, fellas, we just concluded an episode where we talked about customer absorption as a limiting factor in product development now. That if we want to have success in the marketplace, we have to recognize that there's only so much new information, new features, new ways of behaving that our customers can absorb. And in that, we said that engineering speed being grossly accelerated by AI. It's creating kind of this friction, this pinch point. I think the way we described it in the episode was it's like shooting a fire hose at a paper cup. We just have all this stuff coming at our customers now. So we ended the episode on a dark note. And that's not the tone we want here at the Product Porch. We're relaxed. We're chilling on the porch, having
We're like soft radio.
Chill dudes, as they say.
We're just chilling, talking about product. And we ended with who loses their job. So that's not how we want to end things. So we had to do the whole Batman TV show ending. They did tune in next week, same bat time, same bat channel.
I can appreciate the old school Batman TV show reference. Well done, Todd. I can appreciate that.
You could have gone with, when Netflix starts and it says, previously on. We're not going to press the skip button.
Yeah.
Previously on.
Yeah, there we go. There we go. I said like, okay. So last time, yeah, pow. Last time, Batman was hanging by his feet in Penguin's lair. What's going to happen next? Okay. So let's pick it up from there. So just a quick recap. Where we landed was product manager in this world is probably going to let go of some of those shepherding things through development, accountabilities, responsibilities, and actually need to increase their focus on adoption, understand that better. We said that discovery doesn't go away, but good discovery doesn't solve this problem. There also needs to be a focus on change management with the customer and how we do that in a thoughtful way, thoughtful, rigorous, robust way. And then we said there were three positions we described going away. We said the story monkey product owner, the one that just writes stories, that's all they do, and add them in the backlog, make the backlog go. We said the developer who's a code monkey. They just take ticket code. Don't think about strategy. Don't understand the business and the greater systems thinking. Just take ticket and code. And the last one was the pixel pusher UX designer who's just really great in Figma, but doesn't do anything out of actually just design, look, and feel for software. So those people were saying they're going to go away. They're going to become extinct. We'll dig up their bones millions of years from now, put them in a museum. My question then is, and where we need to pick this up, right? Because I'm sure the three of us don't feel like that describes us. I'm sure a lot of people here feel like that doesn't really describe me. So then what does a team look like in the future? What's that future team look like? What are the roles on that team? The skills, maybe even better than the roles, the skills on that team. How do we make sure we're going to land there? So I'll start there, guys. In 5 years, what does the product team look like?
What does the product team look like? I think we can take this in a few directions, but I first want to talk about, at their core, the product team needs to be master enablers of the organization. Because we talked about in the last episode, customer readiness, right? Or maybe we could call it market readiness to adopt a new solution. I'm going to say the organization also needs to be ready to sell, to support, to market, to educate, to do all of the things, because we can start cranking out stuff at light speed. There's two sides to the coin. I don't want tech support to get baffled when somebody asked about drop 1.04563 because it's going to be those long numbers now. Or I don't want sales to fall over themselves with the new release because they're not used to talking about it yet. So I'm going to say master stakeholder enablers.
I am going to go right to the heart. I've heard some rumblings that we think the PO role disappears. Well, yeah, the PM is the decision maker. They're the customer enabler, the operational readiness guide. Someone still owns the details. Someone still needs to make sure that we're able to connect the dots between strategy and execution, especially if we think about velocity increasing. That puts more pressure on someone who is one step away from the customer, coordinating all this massive amounts of work going into a backlog. There still needs to be a person that's going to run demos and get feedback and report that back to the product manager while that product manager is still going out and getting feedback. Who's going to be determining what's going to happen 369? So I don't know if it's so much the role of product owner, but someone's going to need to own the details. And this is going to be hypercritical, especially if we're serious about increasing our velocity, because we now have the tools that enable us to do it.
And Joe, what kind of details are you talking about?
I think it's details around sequencing of stories. I think it's details around when things are ready. I think it's testing. I think it's release notes. I think it's making sure things like non-functional requirements are in the user stories. I think it's just someone needs to keep their eyes on what's happening, making sure there's the right context. Like, even though there are agents that can check an epic, a feature, user story, can help with prioritizing that, there still needs to be someone in there making sure that there's enough details in there to churn it out in the right way.
So I hear what you're saying, Joe. So you're saying, and I'm going to repeat back what I heard. So you just correct me where I'm wrong. So what you're saying there is, hey, we still need someone to ensure that we have the right description of the things that we're trying to create. Those are detailed, described well. I also just sound like you're also speaking to protecting the engineering team, someone there to make sure that all the stuff that's ingested is coming in quickly, is defined well and prioritized well, so that the engineering team is taking that in the right order and not being overwhelmed and not working on things that are less valuable.
Yeah,
that's how I interpret what you said. Did I capture that?
I think that's fair. I think that's totally fair. I mean, because reality is, if I can continue to build on it, we are expecting the PM to continue to focus on discovery and operational readiness. I think they're going to be further removed from the day-to-day. Someone still needs to sit in that day-to-day role and make sure that everything is moving in the right direction. There still needs to be that person. So that is my perspective on where teams are. Someone still needs to play that role.
So here's what I'm recognizing recently. I've been using the BMAD tool when I'm building with Claude Code, and I have found some things it does just better than humans. The first thing I found is NFRs in particular, non-functional requirements. And for those that aren't familiar, BMAD is something like build, make, architect dreams or something. I can never remember it. Just remember it's architect dreams is the AD. Anyway, but you can implement this right into your Claude Code, and then it's agents working, in the roles of a product team. And so there's an agent in there that'll play your product owner, and it will go ahead and write, help you write your NFRs and ask you questions about it. I find that it does it better than humans. NFRs are an area that humans often struggle with.
Fair.
The other thing I find is it can create AC at a much faster than I can.
AC,
If
acceptance criteria.
acceptance criteria. If I do a great job defining the solution, and by the way, it helps me build out PRDs. But if I'm answering the questions, really all it is a series of questions here. It's just asking me questions. I'm answering them, and it'll put together these user stories. As I'm seeing that happen, I'm realizing I really don't know who ends up with that role. Like, regardless of the role, who ends up with having the job to put all those things together to document for the engineer. And more so, what I'm seeing is, who are you even documenting for when the engineer might be mostly AI? Like, you're documenting for AI. And so I actually think the crazy thing is, and what we're going to be trying here, we'll find out if it's right or wrong, is I think you can actually have a less experienced resource who can work with something like a BMAD and quickly generate all sorts of user stories and acceptance criteria and NFRs. And then I don't know at that point what the product owner is bringing.
Right. And that less experienced person needs to be enabled by a product manager who does have understanding of the customer, the market, the problem, and the outcome that is being chased, right?
I think there is a component or a perspective here that we also have to consider, and that is the size of the company. If you're a large organization and your technology has different dependencies, different systems, like there's a downstream effect, right? Your data may originate in one system, but then it flows through to another because you have reporting, you have reporting back to the government, you're reporting back to whatever, different entities. There's different checks and balances. So it isn't as simple as, develop some user stories, use AI to help with PRDs or acceptance criteria. I get that, right? But when we're talking about large multinational corporations, where there's also an MSP model where you have third parties that are also doing the work offshore, there's a lot of coordination. And again, not to say that the product owner is doing that coordination, but there is getting the feedback, understanding dependencies, checking and understanding where things are. There's also, mounting some, there could be managing tech debt coming in from different parts of organizations. So there are some complexities that I feel like if you put that in the hands of a product manager, it takes away from them doing what they need to do, which is discovery and enablement. So I do think, and the way I kind of thought about it, I wrote this down. It's like today we think about the product owner as like a ticket writer. And I agree that goes away. That role, that ticket writer role goes away. And I think it's more about like a clarity owner. That's the way I would kind of say it. It's like ensuring we're moving things in the right direction, ensuring that we're doing very critical ceremonies like sprint demos and understanding what's going to come out of that and using that to drive how we're going to reprioritize our backlog and our release plan, right? Because there's still a human element, right? A really good sprint demo is run by a product owner. I think it's going to depend on...
Our product managers run the sprint reviews. I think, I mean, what I was going to say was that part that you mentioned about the systems alignment, AI is actually really great at that. You give AI access to your system, I think it's actually better than a human at knowing where the skeletons are. Ryan, we can't hear you.
I said, I don't think we're speculating enough. If we're looking at 5 years into the future, it should be a product manager with the skills to coordinate a team of agents to do this thing, period.
No, I agree with you. I agree with you. And I'm what I'm finding is a challenge to replace. So we just did this trip. We all went to Utah and met with a couple of our clients, split into groups, and we were exploring some ideas with them outside of our current core business. And as we met with them, we learned all sorts of things. And the one thing I thought coming out of that 2-hour session, it's just 2 hours, and it was so meaningful. And I thought, I'm not going to replace this with AI. The empathy you get from talking directly to a human just can't go away. But I'm telling you, more and more, it's rare that I'm finding those things.
Right.
And so I'm finding more things that can go away. So maybe we can transition a little bit, off of the role itself of PO, off of the title,
Yep.
and just onto like the skill set.
Yep.
Like what are the things, or maybe responsibilities? Where do we still have to have a human accountable?
I'm going to generalize and say building the customer understanding framework. That is...
Okay, say more.
Yeah, can you elaborate?
Yes. Okay. So the customer understanding framework includes elements that we talk about all the time, right? Who are we focusing on? What are their jobs to be done? What outcomes do they seek to achieve? What pain points do they experience as they seek them? What gains do they need created? And what problem stands in the way of that outcome, causing the pain points and blocks the gains? There's no way an AI can do that. Maybe synthetic data could get you partway there, but it's never going to give you the whole picture, enabling you to exercise best judgment on what should be the right priority and where can the most value be created.
That actually tells me something I'm a little bit nervous about. As you were saying that, I was thinking about this, like, hey, I should create an agent. I should create some persona agents. We've used something similar for like quick A/B testing of minor differences in pages. But my thought was, hey, could I build some agents around our personas and feed it all the information we have about that? And I realized something. Coming out of our meeting in Utah, I came away with new things I didn't think or know. And I thought,
there are new things that what?
That I did not think or know about the persona I was speaking with.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Had I trained an agent based on all my previous data, it would not include the new things I just learned in Utah.
Exactly right. So I have sat in a demo with a company that builds synthetic personas. They literally call themselves synthetic personas. And that's the danger. Todd, you're highlighting it so well, because there are new things that you can learn all of the time. There are new jobs to be done, new outcomes, new gains, new pains to relieve. And if the model that sits behind the synthetic data isn't continually updated with the latest, greatest information, you're missing or you're lagging far behind what you would learn by actually having real conversations with people.
Okay, so let's add to the list.
Yeah.
I like the customer thing. What I'll throw one of mine out, and then we can
go for it. Yeah.
Here's something I'm just feeling. I'm growing up, guys. I'm becoming a big boy. I put my sippy cup down. More and more, I'm just saying, okay, I get it. I get it. We used to talking to Dave Nash. Sometimes Dave Nash, when we'd work with him, he would share things about business thinking and understanding. And I was just like, dude, calm down. Calm down. We don't need to know all this. Now I'm thinking, Dave was ahead of me and I'm catching up, because it's more important than ever to me to be able to understand how the business works.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then the last one is decision making.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That is the one that I'm like, if you don't have the ability to make decisions based on data, if you're going to start abdicating that to AI, then you will be a less valuable resource for a company. So how to make the right decision, the ability to make decisions still needs to sit with you. And honestly, well before AI existed, there's a lot of people who never wanted to do that.
Right.
A lot of people are uncomfortable making decisions, but you still have to make decisions. That's one that doesn't go away.
When I saw the notes for tonight's episode, the first thing that popped in my head, building off of what you said, Todd, was the word emotional intelligence.
Mm.
Can AI replicate that?
There's no way.
It can replicate. It replicates it all the time. When it
Oh,
tells
that
me
is
how
true.
Brilliant my question was. But to your point, Joe, it can replicate. It can't authenticate.
Correct.
Those are different things.
Correct.
Yeah,
It can pretend. It can
fake it. Yeah, it's pretending. It's
fake
not.
it.
Yeah.
but it can't feel.
Like-
and the other thing is it can't feel on your behalf.
Right.
Even if it could feel, if you don't feel, it's not worth anything.
Right.
We had a conversation the other day with a gentleman who is moving his wife into hospice.
Ugh.
As we were talking, he told us everything, his journey to getting to the state and all the various ways he has tried to help his wife. As he's telling us all these various things, he made the comment. He said, I know one day I'm going to wake up and my wife is going to be gone.
Yep.
I just don't know which day that will be.
Yep.
Now, when I heard that, it made me care for him and everyone in his state in a way I didn't before that conversation. I'm not a heartless person, but it's different when you hear it, right? And so to your point there, Joe, yeah, I agree with you. You can't get that synthetically. You're going to need to engage to have that experience.
But even thinking about one of the last episodes we have on politics, in my brain, I am not yet convinced that is going to go away with AI. Like, I still think you've got to know your audience. You've got to speak to, you got to understand where they're coming from. I'm sure you can get 60% of the way there, maybe with AI. But I think like getting people to work together, building that camaraderie, getting buy-in, I have a hard time believing that AI can replace that.
Joe, I am so with you because AI can create great slides on data and stories and construct, but I am presented stuff that I know was built by AI and it's not being presented to me.
Yeah.
So like when I meet with my team to prepare them for a conversation with our CEO, I can speak to what he cares about.
Yeah.
And our UX designer crushed it. You guys know Ben. You met Ben. Well, Ryan didn't get to, but Joe, you got to meet Ben. And you got, I'm sure, really quickly how much Ben cares about values.
Totally. Yep.
Clarissa, in her presentation to Ben, showed how the new UX design system aligns to the company values and helps establish those across our company. Yep. In other words, she connected the values of the company to the design system and showed how they are an extension of that.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Now, if she had put in and asked AI to design a presentation for the CEO about the design system, would it have done that?
There's no way.
There's no way.
Yeah.
That was designed for Ben because she understood who Ben was.
Right. Yeah. Empathy. So we've heard a lot about empathy, understanding humans, exercising human judgment, understanding how the business works, like that ecosystem of.
I know I didn't elaborate on that enough, but yes, you got to know. You got to know the business. You can't trust the AI to know the business for you.
Right. And I opened with what I think is going to change, and I just want to double down on this one, is being an enabler. And I'm actually going to remove some of the human element from this in that sometimes enabling means you are operating a system that does include AI agents. You have to enable them as well, just like you would a human stakeholder. So they do understand that context. They're not missing those pieces that you've picked up along the way.
And you know what's funny about that? I was dubious about how much agentic development a product manager would need to know how to do.
Yeah.
Versus agentic use.
Yep.
And now I'm coming around on that.
Wait, I think
you need to.
Can you distinguish that for me again?
Yes.
Just for my brain.
I think, yes, absolutely. I'll make it simpler. That wasn't said well. I think that we will need to be great. Product managers or people on product team need to be great at both leveraging agents, running a team of agents, and I think they're going to need to develop agents, create agents.
I just can't say I couldn't agree with you more, because
I was hoping you were going to say I disagree, so they could be like,
no,
you're wrong, Ryan.
Think about the job that we do as product managers before AI, like the pre-AI era, how much we acted and even still to this day act as an agent with agency, making decisions, and going about doing things. We need to be able to build those same systems so we can take advantage of the technology.
When you have a new person on your team, who trains them? You got a new BA, you go get a new BA, you train the BA, you train them, right? You train them on the business, on the customer. And when you're training them, do you train them on broad product management principles, or do you train them on how your particular individual business works?
It's all about your internal business values, strategy, goals, who your customer is. Then it's your market environment, your competition, the forces that are being applied to you. And then you get into your product, how it creates value for your customers. And
you're business centric,
yes.
Not general business rules. You're business centric.
Yes.
Right. And
yes.
so you're going to want to have agents who know all those things and behave like you behave at your business. So I love that, because I love that transition to things that are new responsibilities. Possibly, of course, running a team of agents, possibly building agents being a new skill. Are there other things that come to mind as new skills that are arising?
I think you do need to elevate. You kind of mentioned it, Todd, getting closer to the business. And I think that's what's protecting a lot of product people, because we know the business more than an engineer. So who's in a stronger position?
Product manager.
Us.
Yeah.
The engineer's stuff is coming our way because it's
right.
Because we have the business knowledge, not them.
So that's our moat. Our moat around our position and our value is that we understand the business better.
That's right.
No, this is important. And I think I love that you bring that up, because the truth is, when you're sitting in the room, you understand the customer best. You understand the business best, the market context best. You should understand sales motions, right? Pricing models. You should be able to speak to that. We were having a great conversation with one of my PMs just earlier this morning about that around a product we're developing. As long as you understand that, you're right. The engineers come to you because you are the source of that information. If you're unable to speak to that, and that's what I think about, is I think about the product managers who don't have those skills today and are investing, don't want to engage their brain in such a way to actually understand how their business operates. You guys might remember when I taught teams how to draw a very simple picture of where the money flows. Just draw a little cartoon. Doesn't need to be complicated. Just draw a cartoon. How does the money flow? Where does it go?
Yep.
Where does it come from? Where's the value flow? But for those that can't do that, they're gonna get passed by, because my fear is that those are the people, to your point earlier, Joe, those are the people that are gonna rely on AI for it.
Yeah.
They'll never actually take the time to understand the business. They'll just keep relying on AI to tell them about the business. And that's gonna render them useless.
If we're looking at how teams are structured today, and we're thinking about how they're going to look in 5 years, and we're talking about we're managing a series of agents, and we're already seeing teams like Todd, you've talked about it, how you've accelerated your delivery because your teams are using AI. Is the real question, what's the role of the engineer and not the PM?
So I'm planting my flag in the ground. Are you ready?
Oh, let's go.
Here we go.
You need the person who understands the system, the whole system. I'm calling it the system, very generically.
And describe it. What do we mean by the system? What's included in the system?
What's included in the system is that understanding of the business you just described. What are your sales motions? What are your development motions? Who are the players in that system, whether they're artificial as an agentic AI or as a human being? Your market environment that you're operating within. You need to understand the system and how you best approach it. Because if any one component, because right now we can put new products, new features into the machine and out things come. But if they're not serving the business, if they're not, the organization isn't enabled, if the customer isn't ready for it, like we talked about last time with absorption, nothing's you have to see the system.
You know what's interesting about that? Systems. You know what's interesting about that is product manager started as brand manager.
Mhm.
Right?
I was a brand
Back in
manager.
the Procter and Gamble days, right?
Yep.
Yep.
And the idea was that it managed marketing, sales, strategy, or rather than being specialized, I guess. And what's interesting about it is over time, the role most commonly became less strategic and more development focused. And I think the reason why is they thought, oh, this person knows it best, so they should be telling the people who make it how to make it.
That's right.
And after a while, telling people how to make it took so much time that became the whole job. Because what you're defining as what you're describing, Ryan, Marty Kagan would say, well, congratulations, you just described a product manager. It's what they should have always been, right?
Oh, yes.
But the reality is this development role sucked up all the time in energy. In some ways, this is actually bring us back to the roots of what the job was supposed to be in the first place.
You couldn't be more right. Because I've had this argument with other product thought leaders too, where they said, isn't that what a product manager is supposed to be, Ryan? Systems? That's the thing. They're not. Think about how many product managers you guys interact with. It could even be happening at your own companies, where the engineers have been trained, whether subconsciously or overtly, to hide behind the product manager.
Yeah. What do you mean by that? What do you mean by hide behind it?
Hide behind the product manager. So I think these engineers have said, okay, these product managers are here and they're going to be just telling us what to do, what to build. And they just march right up and just say, give me the requirements. Just hand them to me, please. And so they don't have to make the decision. It's the product manager. I'm hiding behind him.
Look at how busy I am. I'm making lots of stuff. And so that's why it's so weird. I actually think the product manager of the future looks a lot like the product manager of the past. And they come into the world of sales and marketing more and spend more time actually connecting that front end where they understand the market and the customer and the system.
Right.
And then enable the organization to excel in that system. You know, as I think I picture, you asked about the developer. I actually picture a more autonomous group in the future when it comes to development. When I talk about shooting the fire hose of the paper cup, I actually want to siphon that water off in more directions and fill up more paper cups. And so if a product manager is good at disseminating the system, then engineers can spend more of their time experimenting. And I will say this, I'm also of the mind, here's another take, I don't think it's both at all. I think the product manager to engineer ratio becomes a lot closer. When it used to be for me like a product manager to every 8 to 10 engineers.
So I gotta give my hardware friends a shout here, because the ratio in the hardware world is way engineer heavy. They'll have like a team of 20 engineers to like one product manager.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, when I worked at Generac, holy cannoli, the number of, just think about all the components in a machine.
I'm thinking in the software world, I'm thinking we're going to get to 1 to 2. One product manager.
That's possible. Engineers. It's possible.
One product manager to 2 developers.
Developer.
What do we do to prepare for this then? Oh, go ahead. Do we forget something?
No, I just want to ask you guys quickly. Do you think the modern product manager is ready for this?
I think where I struggle is not every organization defines a product manager the same way. And so because of that, you have product managers that are playing more of the product owner role and vice versa.
Yeah, Joe, I love where you took this so much. Keep going.
I think if it were very black and white and every organization had a consistent view of the product manager role and empowered the product manager role like Todd's talking about, then I think the answer would be yes. But the problem is there's so much guck around the role of the product manager. People still today don't understand the role. And so you have people in the product manager role that have the title product manager, but don't understand what it really means. And they have other people making decisions for them. So do I think today's product manager is ready? No, not because they're not capable of being ready. I just don't think they're set up to succeed. Not In some cases, yes, if they're staying on top of it. But this person has to be doing it on their own on the side and not at work.
This is so ironic coming from the guy who still works for the training company. But I think you're asking the right question, Joe, is that our organizations enabling or giving space to their teams to get ready, or their product managers
Correct.
to get ready. And I don't think many of them
because
are.
They're begging people just to get on Copilot or Gemini or whatever enterprise solution. There's still a lot of people who haven't put their toe in the water yet.
Yep.
And it's moving fast. I think some people are having to make those changes because the organizations that are progressive are getting there, but not yet.
So what is one thing somebody could do right now? What do we recommend that would help them stay relevant?
Ask yourself some key questions about your current product and business and see if you can answer them. Can you describe and define the business model? Could you draw a picture defining the trade-off of value for the money that you make, and why that is the right business model or why it should be something different? Start asking yourself a few questions about your own business. Who are the key competitors to this? What is the value proposition for this thing I'm offering? And the reason I start there is because if those are questions you struggle with, if you need to start looking up how to answer those questions, great. Then start doing that, because you need to be an expert at that.
Yeah.
Right.
You are not going to have a job 5 years from now if you can't do that.
Yeah. I was going to say, treat yourself like a product and like map out your journey. What slows you down? Create your own, I know I don't know how else to say, like create your own customer journey map. Like, what does your product management journey map look like? Where do you get frustrated? Where do you get tripped up? And then start to research ways to improve where those hangups occur. And I think you'll find AI will help you there. That and the fact that I'm not making any money on this, but this is a really good book. It's called The AI Driven Leader. It's really good, guys. Like anyone that's going to get started, wherever you are in your PM journey, I highly recommend it. Again, I get no kickback or anything like that. I just think it's a really good book. And there's a new book published every day about AI. So who knows, by the time this podcast comes out, maybe there'll be like 4 new books that are just as good as that one. But Jeff Woods writes it. I think it's pretty good. It's a good start.
What I would recommend is, I'm going to start with one word, and it starts with an S and it ends in istems. Systems. So understand the systems. And I think it'd be interesting for people. One step you could take today is look to see where you are spending your time.
Yeah. Yep.
And I think so. I'm kind of combining both of what you were saying here. And if you're going to find, more than likely, you're indexing towards some of one area or another. More than likely, it's probably going to be engineering. Try to get closer to the commercial side of the business. I think that'd be helpful for you. Take those steps. Understand how the cogs of the business work beyond bringing new products to life.
Love it.
Are those our takeaways, or do we want to have takeaways?
I think those are key takeaways.
Those are our takeaways.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Great. Well, I hope we helped. I feel like this is a conversation we can have over and over again. I feel like we've had it before. We can have it again.
Yeah, it is a lot. And let's end this one. I feel like we're ending not as on a black cloud hanging over the porch.
No, the future is optimistic.
It is optimistic.
Like I've said before, the role that that attracted me to this job is the role that persists in the future. That's the exciting thing. The fun part of product management, when you read the product management books and the stuff you get excited about, and you're like, yes, that's the stuff that is still meaningful 5 years from now.
Exactly.
All right, folks. It's great seeing you both.
Good seeing you both.
Enjoyed this conversation so much, guys. We'll see you soon.
Yeah, stay out of trouble, gentlemen.
We'll try.
All right.
Talk to you later. Bye.
See ya.
Thank you for joining us on the Product Porch. We release new episodes every 2 weeks. You can also find us on LinkedIn for more content. We offer a special thank you to AJ and Jack Blaquiere for the music. The views and opinions expressed by the hosts of this podcast are their own and do not represent nor necessarily reflect those of their employer.